Hello, squad. Happy Monday. I am here barefaced with no makeup on. I've got a little bit of like mascara right here and a little bit of eyebrow stuff, and I thought I would come on here nice and nude. I hope I hope Instagram doesn't not Instagram. I hope YouTube doesn't cancel me for that. But all right, I just want to come on here really quickly and talk about a couple of mindsets that have come up in my coaching lately. And it has to do with confident women and treating yourself and other people like their children. One thing that I've noticed as I've begun to change my inner circle and interact with different kinds of women, successful women, women who are vibrant mothers and have thriving relationships and who have lots of confidence is, hold on, let me make sure okay, good. They do not treat other women like their children. And let me explain to you what I mean by that. We've all met women and have been that woman and have wanted people to be that woman to us who's like, when I'm like, oh, but I had this childhood trauma and that's why I'm like this. And she goes, oh, that's just so hard. And oh, I'm so sorry. And I know, and it's just so difficult. And doesn't call you to act like an adult. We all know that woman who will not call you out on your BS and will not tell you the truth. And I found that women who have great confidence, women who have great self-esteem, refuse to treat other women like children. I know there's a phrase, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And this helpless mentality that I'm so overwhelmed, I can't do anything, I'm a victim of my circumstances, nothing can change in my life. And it's never said that way. It's very subtle, right? The way that sort of comes out can be very subtle. Like, oh, this just happened and then this happened and then I just couldn't get to it. And it's like, I shouldn't be chewing gum, but I was chewing my gum today. And I was like, and I'm like, wait a minute. We all have the same 24 hours in a day and you're not a victim of your circumstances. And this comes up a lot with my life coaching clients, like people who want to be successful business owners or people who want to achieve big dreams. Even they want to write a book. They want to finish college. They want to get a new career. It's almost this idea that I have too much going on and therefore I can't. And I could easily be that woman who's like, yeah, it's just too much right now. And sometimes that's true, but a lot of times we just don't want to be adults and we don't want to just make the hard decisions that we need to make. And so for me, one thing that helped was surrounding myself with women who refused to let me fall into that trap and who refused to let me go down that rabbit hole of, everything is wrong and nothing's going to go right and I just can't because I'm helpless. Now, what I like to tell my clients is that you have to pick and choose what you want, because you can't give your time, energy, and effort to everything. That's part of the problem, is kind of the people pleasing comes into play, where you're acting a little bit like a child because you want to people please instead of saying like, this is what I need to do right now. And so what I tell my clients is you need to pick and choose. You have to pick and choose what you can do and do it. Instead of just being overwhelmed because you haven't committed to a lot of things because of your people pleasing nature. I'm not going to treat you like a child. I'm not going to say, oh, that's so bad, so sad, I can't, I guess you can't achieve your dreams. I'm not going to say that to you. And I don't want women to say that to me either. You're not a child. You can handle things. The other way this comes up for my clients is when they're dealing with their food. And oftentimes when clients are asked to transform their food choices and to elevate their food choices, this very childlike personality comes out where they're like, I'm not eating anything. If I can't have candy, then I'm not going to eat. And it's like, again, I'm not going to treat you like a child who can't try new things and, your palate's very limited. I mean, as adults, we have the choice to maybe do things that we don't want to do, even if, you know, we know they're good for us. So with vegetables, for example, like I often say, you know, you guys, you don't, every meal doesn't have to be an experience. Your childhood brain is saying, oh, it has to be mac and cheese and chicken nuggets and french fries or I'm not eating it. And it's like, yeah, that's your 6-year-old brain. Now step into your adulthood and say, okay, I'm an adult. I'm going to do what's good for me versus what my impulse is. I'm going to do what's good for me versus what my impulse is. You are not a child. This goes to other things, you know, like even with like saving money and paying off debt. Like that was a huge thing for me. I paid off over $18,000 in credit card debt. That required me to not be a child. That required me to say, okay, I'm going to make adult decisions right now. I'm going to be an adult. And that means I'm going to have to work a little bit harder. I'm going to have to save, you know, budget a little bit better so that I can get what I want, which is to be consumer debt free. So I paid off my car, I paid off my credit cards, and that required me to adopt the mindset of you're not a child. Yes, this is overwhelming, but you can handle it. And that's the key. We live in a society that in an effort to like exercise compassion and in an effort to be understanding and to not be too harsh, I feel like it's an overcorrection where we're actually regressing back into this childlike state where everybody is struggling with some sort of thing and now they can't do the things they need to do as adults. And so it's really, really important to remember that as an adult, you get to choose. You are not a child. And I refuse to, as a woman who believes in other women and a woman who believes that other women are not children either, I'm not going to baby you. I'm not going to coddle you and say, oh, and your life is just so hard and therefore you can't do anything. I'm going to ask you to do something, right? One thing about adults and one thing about people who transform their lives is they understand that there are lots of people to blame oftentimes. Like there's a lot of people to blame for my circumstances, right? There's a lot of people to blame for how my life turned out, you know, and my life is great. But I mean, just in general, right? There's a lot of people to blame for things. Now I have two choices. I can be like, it's your fault and you have to fix it. And that's a very childlike mentality. Or it's like, this person made some decisions that affected my life, but as an adult, I get to make a different decision. Which one feels more empowering? Which one feels like it's going to get you into gear? And which one is digging into the ground and saying, I'm stuck, I'm stuck, I'm stuck. Because that's what we do when we refuse to be adults and we refuse to act like adults and we want to be children. And one thing I had to do, you guys, and this is going to make some people upset, but I had to stay away from women who wanted to baby me also, who wanted to treat me like a child also, because number one, it's controlling. And number two, it doesn't allow me to make mistakes and grow. It doesn't allow me to experiment with what works well for me. And if you stay in that childlike role where you're just like, what does everybody else want? And I'm going to people please my way into oblivion, and then I'm going to be upset because I'm not getting the things that I want out of life, and I'm going to blame everybody else. Like, that's your childlike personality. You can do that. Or you can say, okay, I'm an adult. I can be respectful of people and make good decisions. And yes, people have wronged me. They have treated me with disrespect. They have, maybe instilled some things that were not healthy and positive, but I get to make a different decision. I get to take responsibility for my life and for the different things that are, that I want to do. I get to take responsibility for that. It's a privilege as an adult. As a child, you don't really have that privilege because you're under someone else's roof. So just a quick little video, you guys, on and a reminder, and for me and for you, that you're not a child. And sometimes we forget that. We regress in our mentally, we regress and we go back into a childlike state, and we're like, oh, my life is so hard and I have no choice, and I have no option but to do this. I have no option but to sabotage. I have no option but to make my life worse. I have no option but to sit here and wallow. And it's like, actually, as an adult, you have options. You have options, and that's great. They may not be the options that you want. Like, you have a spectrum of options always, right? I talk about this in my Confident Women's course. Your life could be falling apart, and I mean just completely and utter shambles. And you still have one decision to make. You can make one decision, and that, some people are going to be like super triggered by that, but you still have one decision, and you have to kind of think about that in all areas of your life. Children act on impulse. Adults act on integrity and with rationality. You have a choice. You do not have to respond like a child. You always have a choice. The world can be falling apart, and it's like, what can I do? I can change my attitude. I can call for help. I can get resources. Like, you have a choice. You have a choice. And so I want to encourage you today to not be a child, and do not allow yourself to be treated like a child, because you are an adult, and adults can make decisions, and adults respond how they need to, and adults can change whenever they want to. You can decide today that I'm going to change, and you don't need anybody's permission to do it, and you don't need to, you can change. You can change today if you decide to. So, all right, you guys, that's it. This is just a super quick live. Just wanted to come on here and give you guys a little bit of encouragement. And if you are interested in my Confident Women course, it is on sale right now, because I'm actually going to be relaunching with 3 new, I was going to call them episodes, 3 new videos. Right now it's got 10 courses in there, plus the Confident Women's Diet, which is the kind of food and nutrition that I follow to stay healthy, to thrive, to have good skin, to balance my hormones and all of that. So if that's something you're interested in, it is in the description box below. All right, you guys, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.